Now, Cup fever has already broken out at Selhurst Park. After yesterday's magnificent victory over Liverpool, Crystal Palace forecast an epidemic throughout south-east London by Cup final day itself. But already a row is brewing over tickets for Wembley.
I'll just put you through to our box office. Hold on, please.
The telephones at Selhurst Park have never been hotter. Call follows call, demanding news about tickets.
You need to wait until after the replay.
The club shop is already doing a roaring trade in shirts, flags and mementos. But even so, the fans can't really believe it.
It's unbelievable. It's just still can't believe it. It's still not sinking into us.
No, 21 years we've waited for this.
I cried when it happened. I just couldn't believe it.
The players will keep these memories whatever happens at Wembley. John Pemberton and skipper Jeff Thomas here were still in a daze today.
Hasn't sunk in. I think it'll take a while. It's in the papers and everything, but it's unreal, isn't it, really, you know?
What about between now and the Cup final? All the pressure, you're going to be in the spotlight. It's going to be tough to cope with.
We've just got to make sure we get a couple more points in the league and then we can enjoy everything. You know, we've got to work hard on Saturday. Big game against Arsenal.
For Chairman Ron Nodes, though, there's the tough task of steering the club through the biggest chapter in its 85-year history. And for once, the prospect of a £600,000 payday is almost irrelevant. There'll be the inevitable row over tickets, starting with the possible allocation you might have.
Yes, the allocation's a problem. From what I read in the paper last week, if it was a United Palace final, we'd get 14,000 and they'd get 26,000. That's just totally unacceptable. No club can go to Wembley with their opponents having twice as many spectators there as they do. I mean, that's like giving them a gold star. And Wembley is supposed to be the final where each team has a chance. Perhaps the other team would like to choose a referee as well.
The pride of place goes to the Eagles of Crystal Palace. They upset Liverpool and now they're in the Cup final for the first time. By lunchtime today, one of the Eagles' heroes, Andy Gray, was competing again at the Brixton Snooker Centre. But yesterday's game was still very fresh in his mind.
It's still sort of like a shock to me that we're there in the final. It's just like an unbelievable day yesterday. It was like a film script, really, you know. You couldn't have written it, really, can you?
It's there by Bright! Bright's in there. And Thomas! Staunton, Gray!
Every time we scored, we just looked at the linesman or looked at the ref to think, well, is he going to disallow it? But, thank God he never.
But then your goal came.
Yeah, I can't really remember much about it. That's all I remember was the ball was sort of like up in the air and two of their players were on the line and they sort of like hesitated and I just sort of like just went for it, you know. I don't know what part of the edit hit me, you know. It was just a great feeling to see it go in because by then I thought we was dead and buried, really, because we was losing 3-2 and I think there was 2 minutes to go.
Now, what's his story about the coach driver and the FA Cup semi-final and his dream? Can you spell it out for us?
Yeah, well, you know, I always hear stories like this in the cup runs that someone's had a dream about something, and I never really take much notice of things like that. The driver did come up to me before the game and said, you know, I had a dream that you was going to score the winner, and I sort of just brushed it away, really. And then after the game, he come running up to me, he was more delighted than I was that his dream had come true. So yeah, it was a nice touch.
I never saw a victory in my mind, but then again, I never saw a defeat either. I just thought I wanted us to do well against Liverpool because obviously the 9-0 and we've been beaten 2-0 at home and I'd made a mistake in that match. I'd left us with 10 men with sort of 20 minutes to go and that was a bad mistake on my part. But during that game I just felt as if like we were getting closer. You know, I actually said after the game to Alan Smith and Ian Bramford I wouldn't mind playing them again, because I think we could do ourselves justice and perhaps nick a result. I never ever envisioned that the result in the semi-final would be as immense as it was, or the game as immense as it was.
I've only been 2 seasons in the First Division and like I've had like good moments against like the top teams, but like that beat, I mean, especially playing at Villa Park where I played, and obviously you played as well, and scoring at the Old End, I mean, it was just unbelievable. I mean, like, that is one of the best games I've ever played in. When it was 80 minutes, I looked at the clock, we was winning 2-1, and I said to myself, I'm going to play in Wembley. And then 3 minutes went past, and my dream was shattered. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't think there was no way back in that game, no way. I mean, you couldn't have like found odds to sort of like say like being like from 2-1 up to losing 3-2. I mean, like you're just dead and buried. And I mean, like we had a free kick, and like the ball sort of like come over, and like when I watched the game, it's just like my mind was just trapped on the ball. Like everywhere the ball was, my mind was like, my head was, I was just like that with the ball, and all of a sudden he chested it, and I went, bosh, that's it. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just had to jump in the out end. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. And our chance to get into the final was that day, and the extra time, it was a dull first 15 minutes, and all of a sudden we just set alight. You know, we just found another gear.
When Alan Pardew scored, like my voice was just like non-existent by then. You know, and when the whistle went, you know, I just ran on the pitch. I forgot my leg. You know, I had this big, massive boot on. And I ran on the pitch, and you know, and as Bright was there, and Andy came over, and it was just like so emotional, and like, you know, it was great. You know, you can't explain those feelings.